Morning, everybody. Welcome to today, where we celebrate the Wednesday after Epiphany. And if we reflect upon the Holy Gospel for today, we notice that today's Gospel takes place after Jesus had fed them, and by the way, them refers to 5,000 men, not including women and children, food, where it came from the boys' 5 pieces of loaves and 2 fish. And today, Jesus has already dismissed the crowd to the extent that he went up to the mountain and prayed. Just then, there were disciples who were on a boat who were in the middle of the sea. Just then, realizing that they are alone, Jesus had walked on the sea to them, to the extent that they really didn't recognize that it was Jesus, but instead thought it was a ghost. So they were really, really terrified about the faith. And if we are to recount other Holy Gospels, notice that Peter also had, asked if it was Jesus, allow him to walk on the water. And so, with that being said, what lesson can we learn from today's Holy Gospel? Each and every one of us are called to remain faithful as we continue to journey throughout our faith. Because our faith can be so limited to the extent that sometimes we really didn't have enough faith. And so Jesus reminds each and every one of us about having this faithfulness so that we can still try to grow and develop as we progress throughout our journey of faith. And so, with that being said, how do we continue to remain faithful as we journey throughout our day-to-day lives? In the first reading for today, Jesus had reminded each and every one of us how to exactly love God, and that is to love other people. Because God had created each and every one of us to the extent that He wanted us to continue to love other people as He had already loved all of us. He gave us every single thing to which we could have ever imagined. And so each and every one of us here are reminded about the loving presence to which God has already fulfilled for each and every one of us. And so, with that being said, there's also another thing to which we can learn from the gospel from today, and that is Peter walking on water. When Peter proclaims that he is faithful, Peter was the person who didn't realize how much he had to learn. And so, with that being said, Peter had attempted to never deny Jesus. Yet before the cock crows, before Jesus was being handed over to the Jews, Peter had denied Jesus 3 times. And so when Jesus challenges Peter to walk on the water, Peter had first been able to walk on the water to the extent that he was successful as he was able to approach Jesus. But then, when the storm and the windy conditions come, then Peter, looking at the sky and looking down at the water, realizes that he sank and he fell to the extent that he asked Jesus to come and save him, which Jesus did. And so, here, what does this remind each and every one of us? That when we walk on the water, we realize that we have to look up at Jesus, knowing that God made everything possible. Now, are we able to physically walk on the water, you may ask? No, because science proves it. But we can walk upon our journey of faith to which Jesus is leading us to come to Him. And throughout our life, we strive to want to journey towards Him. But yet, when we look upon our own failures and look upon our own things that we have in our life, that is when we realize that we come to fall apart. Just like how Peter had fell and sank in the water had it not been for the unfaithfulness. And if we are to swim to Jesus, we would have to dedicate a lot of hard work, because swimming takes a lot of balancing in order for us to not be able to sink. And we have to be able to breathe well in order to continue swimming towards Jesus. And so, being able to come to Jesus requires each and every one of us here to dedicate all of our effort and our commitment for us to be able to reach Jesus as He is standing there waiting for each and every one of us here to come. And so I challenge each and every one of us today and try to come to Jesus, not looking down upon ourselves, but try to continue to journey towards Jesus as we strive to prepare for the next life today. And let us continue to be joyful, to which Jesus had already promised to each and every one of us here. Let us continue to experience this joy so that we can live a happy life as we prepare for the kingdom of heaven here to come.